Hey you guys, welcome back to Michael Clarida Arts, and yes, it is that time of year once again. Man, it is Christmas time, and of course, during Christmas time, I have a couple birthdays that I have to address. One is my daughter, and the other is my wife. And why I bring that up, and it's significant, of course, as you saw in the thumbnail, is that we're going to be doing a keepsake greeting card illustration. I do these probably 2 to 3 times a year, depending on the person. Obviously, I do one for my wife, typically a Valentine's Day, maybe our anniversary, depends on what's going on at the time, but definitely at the end of the year for the birthday celebration. My wife has a huge collection of gnomes, and she loves everything gnome. So tonight we're going to be sitting down with a nice cup of illustration, right? And we're going to be drawing a gnome on a greeting card. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the process, I've shown you guys before, but we're going to go through it again. I typically do the greeting card on illustration board / watercolor paper. I do this because I use markers. I love the way that watercolor looks, and watercolor to me is a little messy at times, and markers just speak to me a little bit clearer whenever it comes to drawing and coloring. So we're going to be utilizing my huge collection, not all of them, but I do have a very large collection of markers, and we're just going to be keeping it simple, keeping everything traditional, nothing digital other than the recording device. And we're just going to be talking and chatting about the holidays and the year coming to an end. And hopefully you'll stick around for the entire duration. And we're doing this probably 70% live drawing, and then I might just put you on time lapse, because typically an illustration like this takes about an hour, hour and a half, and I don't want to have an hour and a half video, and I know you don't want to watch that. So let's go ahead and get started. And here's my setup. So I've just got my laptop stand and my last sheet of watercolor paper. Ooh, scary last sheet of paper. What do I do? Just kidding. I don't have any problem with that. So, yeah, greeting card. This is, I believe, 9 by 12. So it's 12 inches by 9 inches. I want to split it down the center, draw on the right-hand side, so whenever I fold it, it will be correct for greeting card presentation. So I'm using a Ticonderoga. Actually, I don't want to use Ticonderoga. Typically I use Col Erase, but we're going to use, I guess we can use Ticonderoga pencils. I like Col Erase because they don't have a lot of artifacts inside of the drawing asset. It's not lead or graphite. It is basically wax with some pigment, and it erases very well. And I like using either blue or red. They do make other colors from Col Erase, but I like using these two because depending on how I'm going to color, actually let's use the blue today. How I'm going to color the illustration, that will just, the blue will kind of fade into the back, and I can use one of my plastic erasers over here, rubber eraser, or the all-important Prismacolor plastic eraser that doesn't damage the tooth of the paper. And that's important as well. So, yeah. I gotta be careful because the wife is on the prowl. She can't come in and see what I'm doing. Right? Don't want her to come in and see what I'm doing. I told her not to bother me. I said, "Woman, don't you bother me." No, I didn't. I didn't say it like that. So what I'm going to do, my wife is a runner. She's been running now since 2004, 2005. And she is an incredible inspiration to everybody around her. She's incredibly smart. And, doing this is just a small, tiny, itsy-bitsy, teeny-weeny gesture that I can do to, bring joy to her birthday, right? Anything that I can do to help her, because she's done so much for me and my family, I would have no problem doing something like this for her at all, even if she asked me, right? So my wife's a runner, like I said, and she's an incredible inspiration because she had, all throughout her adolescent years, she had some challenges with her weight and keeping in fit and fitness and stuff like that. But after after our first child, she just had an epiphany, and going on, that's 05, so 04, 05, so 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 13. So, no, it'd be 18 years. Oh my gosh. So 5, 10, 15, and then 3 years, 18, going on 19 years. She lost 100 pounds. And that to me is, in and of itself, is an incredible thing. I remember whenever I first got married, I actually lost a bunch of weight. They say whenever you get married, you gain weight, but I lost weight. I went down to like 155 pounds, and that's probably where I need to be. But I love to eat so much, and I just haven't been able to get where I need to be weight-wise. But she has kept it off. She's an incredible inspiration. She's run marathons. She's run half marathons. I mean, she's done, she's done so many 5Ks and 10Ks. So many medals, from finishing, and she's just an incredible person. She does not watch my videos, by the way, just so you know. I'm not doing this to get any accolades from her. She is, she definitely deserves all the accolades she can get, but, she doesn't need any from me, and she definitely doesn't watch the videos. Not because, she doesn't want to or anything. She just doesn't. This is part of, what I do to have fun. So, but she likes gnomes, and she likes gnomes because it reminds her of some of the things that she had, whenever she grew up. She grew up in Alaska, and just her grandmother always had gnomes around the house, so she just likes gnomes, gnomes, fairies, stuff like that. So, and that's what I'm doing right now. What I'm doing right now, and this is important to note, is you see I'm not really digging in as far as the illustration goes. I'm keeping everything really light and airy, and not going back. And here, I'm going to do this. Going to have a pair of shoes here. And like I said, she's a runner. So I don't have a pair of shoes, little pair of running shoes right here. But like I've said before many times, that roadmap of the illustration and how the other one kind of tucked behind. He's got his other finger in that one. Yeah. And she loves coffee. She's an avid coffee drinker just like I am. And I don't want to call us coffee snobs, but we don't drink, crappy coffee. We love a good bold brew, good bold coffee. And yes, we have done the coffee press and all that other stuff involved with evolving your palate as far as coffee goes. And we've got a lot of local roasters around here up in the mountains, so we're always constantly trying new and different types of coffees, from Sumatran to Colombian beans to South American, I mean, you name it. African beans, Hawaiian. We've tried so many different types of coffee, over roast, dark roast, medium roast. So if you guys have any suggestions as far as coffee goes, I would definitely be interested in that. So what I'm doing now is getting a little bit darker of a line. Again, positioning some of those elements as far as the outfit goes. Positioning, and since gnomes, I mean, their hats go way low, like this. So I'll probably have his beard come around here. There's a lot going on in this area. I'm not really happy with that. But we're going to make this kind of a wooden cup. So here's his finger, right? Finger here. And maybe just get his other finger around here. Okay. But like I said, my wife is a super inspiration. I mean, she's a teacher. I mean, she's been, very involved in ministry throughout her entire life, and she's really helped a lot of teenagers. Recently, we both organized, but her mainly, organized a 5K up here in the mountains. And it was a huge success, and it was mainly developed to be a fundraiser for youth kids to go to youth camp. So, you know, again, that's part of her lasting legacy of helping people. And she just does it out of the goodness of her heart, and she's a really amazing person. I'll tell you what, for all the people that I could have ended up with, I basically won the life lottery. And I think I've said that before. You know, she has really just been awesome. And like I said, she does not watch my channel, so don't think I'm doing that just to get brownie points. So what I'm doing now is just, again, positioning the feet, positioning the legs, getting it to a spot where I'm happy, you know. I'm gonna have that other leg come out front here. I'm sure somebody's going to wonder what this is. This is just a little pad that I put on my pencil. I like having a larger surface area whenever I draw, and these are cheap. You get these from the dollar store for, you get like 6 for $10 or 6 for $2 or $1.50 or whatever. So now I'm going to come back. Start doing some of these details that really start telling the story of what, you know, this illustration is doing, what's going on. And one of the things I talk about is thinking three-dimensionally, right? So you saw me draw the circle in first, and then I started placing the peripheral elements of the body. Again, I went here, and you kind of saw me do a bean-shaped, and then I took a line and I ran it down the very front just to give me some form and some understanding what's going on. And this helps me think three-dimensionally, right? What I think is great about art in general is, first of all, it's subjective, right? You can look at something, you can say, I don't get it, I don't see it, I don't quite understand. And other times, it's going to have these little bitty eyes. Other times, you can look at something and it's so thought-provoking and evokes such emotion. We are bombarded every single day with so many images that a lot of times, I think, whenever we look at truly good art, we don't quite understand what it is, because it's like we're programmed to accept art that is, you know, just for commercial use. Because let's be honest, it's hard these days to criticize anything, you know, especially if you're you know, in the field of an artist. Then somebody gives you credibility. It's like, oh, you're an artist, oh, then you have credibility to do something. You know, I think that's kind of again, one of those situations where art is so subjective that somebody could look at something and love it and give it validity. And then other times you look at something and go, that's just terrible. But for my philosophy, nowadays that I get older and I'm looking at the world through a different lens, art to me is life. You know, you look at so many different things happening in the world, and we just don't quite understand how our world can be the way it is. But then you see something so beautiful. You know, even cars. I look at cars. A lot of people think, oh, cars so utilitarian. But cars, to me, some of them can be just so beautiful, right? The lines. There's certain cars that just, oh. You know, Teslas, to me, I think they're neat. And they definitely have a presence, you know, whenever you see one. I just think they're a little boring. But then you get to something like the Cybertruck. Oh my gosh, I saw that recently. What an incredible design. The design language in that is just so clear. I mean, from all the triangles and just, oh, I love it. I love whenever something comes together and just speaks in ways that, you know, you weren't particularly prepared for. And whenever I first saw the Cybertruck, I'm like, that is a very compelling design. There's nothing like it else in the world. You're either going to hate it or you're going to love it. And the more I look at it, the more I'm like, wow. And then I watched a couple of videos on, you know, the Cybertruck and what it has to offer and the power and all these other things. And I'm just like, wow, it just keeps getting better. I just, you know, I'm just kind of talking out of the side of my mouth here, but I just love good design, right? Not all my stuff is good. I'll be the first to admit that. Yeah, I've struggled more than I could ever imagine to tell you. I've struggled so much with drawing, with illustration, and especially lately I've been struggling with 3D design, because it's now become so much more than just a hobby to improve my, you know, the way I see the art world. I mean, I'm a professional working 3D sculptor, and I never thought I would say that out of my mouth. And now, you know, I've been getting so many opportunities that are opening certain doors, and I'm anxious to see where next year leads me, you know. But I will never give this up, because this I love. I love traditional art. To me, it's just amazing. I love it so much. I can't even. Whew. So what I'm doing, again, I'm putting in that roadmap of where I want stuff to go. So now I want to give him a little, just like a little standard pair of shoes, like the elf shoes that kind of curve up, you know, or the Gnome shoes. Get some grass right here. He's kind of standing in the grass. Here, we'll go here. So we're going to move this light front a little bit forward so you can see a little bit better. Hopefully that brings things a little bit clearer for you. Have that other shoe right here kind of tucked behind. And then he's going to be holding, maybe it has a little belt. It's got a little belt right here that I need to show. I think his beard's partially covering up his belt buckle. But yeah, art to me, I'm to the point now where I'm just trying to absorb as many things as I can and try to improve in the areas that I need improving. And one of the things that I'm going to endeavor this year to do is more traditional painting. So I did a lot of painting in college. I did a lot of pastel drawing in college. I mean, a lot. It was really my primary way of doing my artwork, and I really got away from it, and that's sort of a travesty. So I'm going to endeavor to do more traditional painting. I did have a commission this year, which I got paid pretty well, so I think I'll do some more of that going forward. Okay, so he's got his tennis shoes over here on the left. I'm going to go ahead and have that arm come around here, and you see every time I go past I try to improve a little bit, and then suddenly I look down and I have that thumb right here. I got his finger right here. Got that other finger going in. Okay. And every time that I go past, I make a little improvement. A little tongue comes out right there. Okay. And the other one is pinky's kind of in there. Good. I'm going to have his cuff, because typically they have cuffs on their shirts. Here's his other one right here. Comes down. There's the tongue on that one. And the laces. Just a little hint of the laces. Again, I don't want to get too detaily with it. right? I'm going to have the sole of the shoe. And for those of you who don't know, if you're married to a runner, one of the things, their love languages are new shoes. So typically my wife gets about 4 pairs of shoes a year, and they're not inexpensive shoes. However, because she gets so many of them, I've found resources, whether it be on eBay or Brooks. She's a Brooks person. She likes Brooks shoes. You can go to something called Brooks Replay, and typically there's shoes on there, mostly brand new, and it's a Brooks website, and you can get them for about 50 to 60% off. And a lot of them are maybe out of rotation anymore. Some of them are last year's models, you know, but I mean, heck, pay $60 for a $150 pair of shoes. That's pretty good. And she doesn't mind at all. And I get some other things too, right? I get specialty shoes from eBay, maybe from a marathon that somebody bought and they've worn maybe once. And some people are like, I'll never wear somebody else's shoes. Well, you're missing out, because all you gotta do is wash them. You wash them and they come out pretty much brand new most of the time, if you know what you're doing. And I've done this enough to know what I'm doing. Okay. All right, so we've got pretty much everything in as far as composition goes. Now what I typically do is I go back and I finalize the line a little bit more. Now notice I'm not jamming the pencil into the paper, and that's important to note because this particular kind of paper, it's got a heavy tooth, which means it's the texture that is that you feel whenever you touch the paper. And I don't want to jam too much of this in there, because whenever I come back with a pen or with color pencil or with a marker or something like that, I don't want the paper to be full. And you can fill the paper up, right? You can fill it up with material. And I just don't want to do that. We'll get 2 little stripes here on the shoe. And we'll have just an indication of the laces, right? Pretty easy to see here, and you look at those and you're like, yeah, okay. That's pretty cool. And you notice I'm not getting into any value, and everything's really loose. And right now everything is kind of shape based, right? I've got a big circle right here, I've got a big circle right here, circle, and then I go in and I've got cylinders. I've got a circle here, circle there. I've got a partial cylinder right here. Keeping it simple, right? I don't want to go in and just muck everything up for the sake of trying to render, quote unquote, render it. I don't want to render anything right now because honestly, it's just not ready. Equate it to a good cup of coffee, right? You have to let the coffee rest for a minute. You want to get in there and drink it instantaneously, but you really shouldn't. You should let it rest for a minute, let it cool down a little bit, right? A lot of people like super piping hot coffee. I'm not one of those people. It's just got to be to where I can drink it and just experience it, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back and I'm going to finalize some of these lines, right? And make it a little bit clearer exactly what's going on. Because whenever I come back, I'm going to come back. Where's my pen? My pens. Where are my pens? Oh, no. Is it this one? No. I've got a huge collection of pens, and they typically, they leave my desk. I have children, and the other day I'm watching my son do his homework, and I'm like, what do you have in your hand? And he had one of my $9 pencils in his hand, my Blackwing pencil. He's like, yeah, I just needed a pencil. I go, Micah, that's not just a pencil. Micah's his name, by the way. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to find my pen, put you guys on time lapse, and you guys are going to just watch me finish this greeting card. Okay? Yay! Yay, greeting card. I love greeting cards. Like I said, I've done quite a few of these, and I really enjoy them. And it's here and there. All right, put you on time lapse. Okay, so basically what I've done is I've blocked in the color of the different elements, kind of like paint by numbers, right? If any of you have ever done anything like that. So now I'm going to be putting in the shadow and the highlights. And you're like, well, how do you do that with markers? So obviously, whenever it comes to markers, you have to consider the color of the paper. And I do, because it's white. And typically I don't like drawing on white. I draw on toned paper. I don't have it ready that I can show you, but what this does is whenever I block in the color, it gives me kind of that local color without any light and shadow on it. Now I did go ahead, since the beard is white, I went ahead and put in a little bit of shadowing here and there, but instead a lot of people were going to be like, just use a darker red or just use maybe a darker green, and I can do that. But what I like to do a lot of times is I like to use a purple hue, and I do this a lot in my illustration. And the purple, since it is really good at shadowing, and this one's a little bit dark, a little bit too dark, but that's okay. We'll make it work here. And for me, the purple works out to be a really good shadower, right? See, and you see how that blends in, and suddenly, instead of it being just maybe a green with a green, that shadow layer being purple really helps bring out the vibrancy. Now this one is a little bit too dark and saturated, so let's go. See, both of these are pretty similar in hue. Let's see if that makes a difference. Yeah, see, whenever I place that purple over the yellow, since those two colors are complements, right? And I can go in and do that. See how, even though it's a color, it going on that, you know, the warm, suddenly it becomes vibrant. It's a vibrancy. It looks really good. I like it a lot. We'll put it there, put a little cast shadow underneath him on the green. See? And what you never ever want to do is to use straight black. Straight black! Yeah, that would probably not be good. Right? Because black just kills color. White kills color. But you see how that, basically, if you look, I mean, it suddenly becomes, right? Maybe not that one. But I can fix that. I can fix anything. Yeah. So, yeah, this looks pretty decent as I go through. And I just get a little bit of hint of shadowing. And I'll show you what I'll do as far as the highlights go. Yeah. Okay. See that right there? I can come back with my gray. And what that gray will do is it'll help kill that color. Yeah. Then it will be a big purple blob. And since the alcohol markers, that's what I like about alcohol markers too, is you can go in, you can blend. It's really nice. And with watercolor paper, it just blends right in. I forgot to color something. You won't tell on me right there. Sorry about that. Okay. So now I'll come back and I'll give a little bit of an indication of shadowing under here. Right, a little bit of shadowing under there. Right. To help blend it in a little bit better. And then I'll show you my magic wand here. You're going to enjoy this. So, Kohinoor, the company Kohinoor, they make a fantastic marker, but it is a dry marker. And it's, for me, I like using these. They're right here. They're called dry markers. And what this does is it brings out... Broken. It's okay. Please pardon the horrible sound. Almost. And what this does is it brings out some of the vibrancy, and it also makes it kind of fluorescent, which I love. It boosts and beefs up the vibrancy of the colors, and I love, this is probably my favorite color right here. I make this yellow, so I can go back in and just, oh. And what's great is, if you understand how color works, you know, see how that just beefs everything up? And like the rim shot color, the rim color, you can just get some beautiful hues that really just jump, right? It just looks really cool. And then like the pinks and stuff. Oh gosh, the pinks. Yeah, the pinks are really cool. Here, I got markers in my hand. Sorry about that. It's too much going on. Yeah, I like this right here. Bring up some vibrancy. See how that literally, it just makes it, oh, jump. See that? Suddenly, it changes the hue from like a red, dull red, and whenever I put this over it, like dry marker, it makes it into like a velvet. It just looks so cool. Yeah. And you see me come back, and what I'll do is I'll spread out some of that, because this is basically wax. I'll spread out some of that wax a little bit to help, you know, push it and pull it here and there. And then finally, just for posterity, if I can find it, where did I got my... I don't typically like using white for anything, because again, white, what does it do? It kills color. So I'll come back with maybe the blue, and I'll give a little bit of highlight here and there. Maybe there's a little bit of a casting from his beard, and we'll get a little bit of highlight here and there. Maybe he's got a little bit right there, and then maybe here and there we'll give a little bit of the design here, just to give it a little bit of dimension here and there, you know. Here, I'll position this up just a little bit for you guys. Here we go. So like right here. Yeah, I really think that's good. And then that green, remember that green I talked about? Watch this. This is going to blow your mind. It's blown, mind blown. I'm going to sharpen it a little bit. Okay, I love this color. This color is just so awesome. So now I'll go around him in the back. And see what that does? It brings that blue. Oh, this looks so good. A little bit on this side too. And literally, it just brings, it's just like a smile, right? Just a little smile in the end to help bring forth a little bit of life into your piece. And then just a little bit of white on top of the shoe, just to give it a little bit of dimension, right? Just a little kiss, maybe a little bit even there. See, the second I put that white in there, what it did, it killed the color. That's all right though, we're near the end. All right, you guys, hopefully you enjoyed this little exercise and a peek into my yearly little fun that I do for my beautiful gifted wife who loves gnomes. We do accept gnome donations. If you're interested, just let me know. You can send me gnomes. Alright, you guys, thank you for visiting the channel. Hope you got something today. Definitely like and subscribe if you like what you see, and hit that notification bell. What I've noticed, and I'm sure you've heard this from other YouTubers, is the fact that a lot of the viewers just don't watch the channel. Like 95% of it are new views, which I think is great for subscribership, you know, to get new subscribers. But definitely hit that notification bell, because then whenever I post a new video like this one, you get to watch it. All right, you guys, we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.